So I recently saw a talk at Google about the art of asking by Amanda Palmer, and yeah, today I'm going to be going deeper into it. And so, firstly, she talks about how to embrace vulnerability and just ask. And yeah, so first she talked about the difference between asking and begging, and how asking was like an act of connection and trust. And so, yeah, begging is sort of just like a one-sided thing where someone tries to which someone just tries to get the other person to get where the other person tries to get the other person to give something. However, asking is like a two-way thing where they can where they can reach like an agreement. And I guess begging is sort of like um, the position of the two people are different, since one person is just like one person has like the power, and the other one is just trying to get something. However, with asking, like, it's like mutual, and yeah, the other person can say like yes or no. So yeah, so a lot of people just get the two mixed up. So asking is basically just like, yeah, like I said before, where two people have the same position, and yeah, they reach an agreement. And yeah, so often the fear of asking is rooted in shame or the fear of rejection. So I remember when my teacher recommended me a piano course, um, and yeah, it was held by a professional pianist who was world renowned, and yeah, it lasted for 4 days, and yeah, I mean, on the first day, I didn't really have anything prepared, and I didn't know we had anything. However, everyone else did, and yeah, that's made me think that maybe I got something mixed up, and I could have just gone and asked the organizer. However, I was afraid that what they would think of me if I was like not organized, and if came unprepared completely. And so yeah, I just decided to quit. However, I really regret it now, since I missed out on the opportunity to yeah practice with the world-renowned pianist and to learn and improve my skills. And so yeah, she then talked about her experience as a street performer, and she talked about how she felt a profound connection she'd feel towards people and their gazes. And whenever they gave her money, she'd make eye contact with them and offer them flowers, which is basically an asking type of, I guess, performance, since yeah, they both have like the same position, and in return for money, she'd also give them eye contact. I mean, she'd give them flowers, and she'd also yeah have eye contact to build the sense of like neutrality. And yeah, in that she learned that emotional transactions can be as valuable as financial ones, and they often come hand in hand. So yeah, so I guess along with financial transactions, you also need to have, I guess, a bit of emotional ones to like build connection and trust with the other person. And yeah, second, she talked about reimagining monetization, and yeah, rather than making money, you should focus more on building relationships with other people, and yeah, you should like basically let them pay what they want for what you provide. And yeah, she talked about how she once formed a band called the Dresden Dolls, and she built quite a large following. And to build relationships with the fans, she often stayed like hours after performances to like talk with the fans and yeah, share experiences, and that basically built trust. And she realized that people just wanted to help her, like for example when they gave her food after performances, or if they gave her a ride home. And basically, yeah, it just formed a lot of connection and trust between her fans. And thirdly, she talked about how crowdfunds were basically like trust building. And in 2012, she released a campaign to fund for her album, to fund for her album, and yeah, her goal was 100,000. However, she managed to reach $1.2 million from over 24,000 people, and it made it the most successful music-related campaign at the time. And yeah, so she said that she didn't provide people with just the album; she provided them with personal value as well. So through maybe like personal letters and signatures, or like performing at parties, or and yeah, collaborations. And so yeah, she realized that you didn't have to just do it based on the structure of the industry. However, you could also do it through like the trust and relationships with others. And fourthly, she talked about how you should let let others give freely. And since like if you refuse, then it stops the connection and the circulation of the gift. And so, for example, yeah, if someone were to give donuts to me, yeah, it would basically just be wrong, since it would be if I didn't like, it would be like quite harsh if I didn't accept it, um since it's just like blocking their generosity out of guilt or discomfort. And yeah, she talked about how whenever she received gifts from fans, at first she felt like it wasn't at first she felt like she shouldn't really be receiving them. However, after that she realized that that like receiving gifts made the giver also feel like, I guess, also feel good, since they're helping the person who they want to. And yeah, it's not really about guilt that she received the gifts, but about recognition and connection with her fans. And yeah, she talked about the fraud police. So it was like one of the main reasons in which she didn't really want to receive the gifts. And it was basically like an internal voice in your mind that keeps telling you you're not good enough. However, yeah, you have to break free, and everyone's entitled to something, since like the amount of support is like endless. It's like an ocean, and so you just have to like just receive it, and you're really entitled to yeah, to just take if you want. And yeah, you can fight it with courage, with the courage and the trust you have built and the relationships with others. And finally, she talked about how asking is a generative act, and yeah, it fosters mutuality, and it makes the giver feel empowered as well, since yeah, it builds trust with the receiver, and yeah, the giver would also feel would also feel good knowing that they helped the person who helped yeah, someone who they liked. And for the receiver, it also opens the space to create with not only with support instead of resistance. And yeah, so asking, so yeah, like I said, asking helps the giver as well, since it will just it helps, like it's like a win-win for both people, since the giver feels empowered, and the receiver also feels happy receiving the gifts. And so yeah, I hope you learned something. I would like you to take away firstly that asking is not begging, but an act of connection and trust. And yeah, even if you have an internal voice saying you're not good enough, you have to try and break free, since yeah, there's this amount of support is limitless, and you're entitled to it if you receive it. And finally, asking is a generative act, and it fosters mutuality, and it helps the giver and the receiver. Thank you for listening.